Mommytrack Daddy Whispers Podcast is now called Birth Agni Podcast.
Hi, I asked a question on my Instagram handle as to why we celebrate Mother's Day and Father's Day as two separate dates. And it spiraled out into a number of questions. First of all, why do we celebrate Mother's Day? Second of all, why do we celebrate Father's Day? And third of all, what I said before I said everything else. I asked this last week on International Mother's Day, and it intrigued me. My argument is, typically, a father is born the day a mother is. Then why segregate? To answer this, I had to research on the aforesaid questions, and I thought you might be interested too. So here are the answers. But before, an intro. Welcome to Mommytrack Daddy Whispers, a podcast where we discuss women, postpartum, and parenting as a whole without subjecting it to motherhood or fatherhood. This is a bi-weekly podcast where I share my experiences and learning as a new parent with an intent to align diverse experiences and grow into a community wherein we mutually uplift each other. My name is Divya, and what you're not listening to is episode 5 of this podcast because that is due next week. Back to the question. Why do we celebrate Mother's Day? Coming from India, my memory of celebrating Mother's Day is recent. As a 90s kid, we did not celebrate any such day in school, I remember, except maybe Independence Day or Republic Day perhaps. But the version as we know today, the International Mother's Day, dates back to 1850s, I read, and has its roots in the United States of America. To know how it started, we would have to know the story of Anne Ree Jarvis and her daughter, Anna Jarvis. Anne Ree Jarvis, Anna Jarvis' mother, was a social activist during American Civil War. A lot of her own children died due to diseases such as diphtheria and typhoid. She started a community of women to bring awareness about public and child health. They formed communities that worked on getting help in improving health standards and fight diseases. These communities that Anne Ree Jarvis formed, they also had a role to play in managing the consequences of the Civil War. They helped both the soldiers and their families by forming something called Mothers' Friendship Days. And on those days, they brought the families on both the sides of the war together and worked towards emotional healing without being biased towards one side of the war. Their work was appreciated, and she was also asked to come and help those families. Her communities were going from one place to the other and helping people out. It was Anne Ree Jarvis' desire to honor mothers and extend help through communities, which was later driven by her daughter after she died. Anne Jarvis, her daughter, who later got the new International Women's Day established, worked towards promoting the idea of celebrating Mother's Day on an emotional level. And this finally got established as International Women's Day in 1908. And not to dilute, it had already been celebrated traditionally in different parts of the world on different dates, say 21st March in Egypt, Iraq, Libya, and the fourth Sunday in March, say, in Ireland and Jersey and Nigeria, UK, in fact. So these are different dates where traditionally Mother's Day has been celebrated. But the US-derived one, which seeped into different countries, for example, in India, is celebrated every second Sunday of May and got popularized by gifting and flower industries as it suited their business. Anne Jarvis even tried to fix the commercialization and tried promoting the emotional value of this day. But it has become what it has become now. And how did Father's Day come into being? My research tells me that the history dates back to 15th century. That old. And I thought Father's Day was an even new sensation. Traditionally, around 1508 in the Catholic Europe, fatherhood was celebrated on St. Joseph's Day in the month of March. Also, conventionally, it has been a part of various cultures, but only established on an international level in the 20th century to complement Mother's Day. So today's Father's Day celebration, it was promoted and established by Sonora Dodd. Please forgive me if I pronounce that wrong. She promoted the celebration in honor of her father, a Civil War veteran who was a single father. But there were a few failed attempts before that. This one caught on. And why and how? Because she was approached by some manufacturers, some vendors who could benefit from this holiday. Similarly, like the flower industry and the greeting cards industry. So Father's Day, as we know it, came later as a logical complement to the existing Mother's Day. And both have a commercial angle to it. And that tells us why we are getting many more days, such as Daughter's Day, Engineer's Day, Doctor's Day, Grandparents' Day, and so on. Maybe traditionally they've been there, but the internationalization and the globalization is happening. So my takeaway from this is that it doesn't really matter what day it is. Every day is a Mother's Day, Father's Day, Daughter's Day, Son's Days, and so on. These were created for a purpose of their own and promoted for reasons of their own. And I would answer myself my very first question with the answer that yes, all these celebrations are interrelated, and as long as we keep the sentiments intact, there is always a warmth in celebration, and that even sometimes gives hope to so many people. It's a day that may be very, very significant to some people and may not be for others. So that's how it is. On that note, I would sign off and we'll meet you next week with some jargons on how to manage kids this quarantine. Going to the blabber at the end. If you like listening to us, please subscribe to us, download and share. You can write to me your thoughts on my Instagram handle @divya.kapoorofficial. Whatever it is that you like or dislike or just want to share or say something, we welcome it all. We are new in this. I'll be waiting on the other side. Stay tuned. Stay safe.